Hey guys, this is SEO Floyd, and I'd like to welcome you to step one of our safe PBN setup for Source Phoenix. So what we're going to be talking about today is the steps in order that you will take in order to set up your private blog network sites so that they will be not only effective, but that they will be safe from Google. So Google will not find your sites and kill them. I have outlined the steps for each process in this document, and I'm going to show a few of them to you on this call live. Be sure if you have any questions to refer to the Facebook group for the coaching. So step number one is that you will need a unique email account. There's several ways that you can get this. You can make one and just go to Yahoo or go to Gmail or wherever. If you're going to be doing this in low volume, then that would be fine. You can just register these accounts that way. If you're going to do them in bulk though, however, you're going to want to probably purchase them. There are several places you can purchase email accounts. The easiest and quickest one is going to be to simply go to Fiverr, our good buddy Fiverr.com, and in the search field type in email accounts. And when you type in email accounts, then it will bring up a bunch of different options here. And so I will 100 new email accounts in a few hours. I will provide 700 Nokia human emulated. I will manually create 10 PVA. I will create for you UO35 real, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So there's dozens of places to buy these in here. So if you're going to do it in bulk, that's what you're going to want to do. Step one, you're going to get yourself some email accounts. When you buy these in bulk, they are going to come to you in a spreadsheet with a username and password. So that can be the basis for your tracking for this whole project. All right, so that's the step that we're going to start with, which is getting an email account. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to go to a website called fakenamegenerator.com, and we're going to use this to create a persona that is going to persist throughout the rest of our creation. So fakenamegenerator.com, it's a free site. If you'd like to do these in bulk and download them, however, you do need to do the free registration. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to go through here, these options, and you're going to choose where you would like your persona to be from. So you can choose city, state, you can choose country. So wherever your client is based or wherever your website is going to be based, you want it to match this. You want it to be, somewhat close geographically. So after you have put in your variables, it's going to spit out something that looks like this. And it's going to have a name, and it's going to have an address, it's going to have a phone number, it's going to have all kinds of information in here. All right, so this is what you're going to use to start the process with. And again, if you download these, it'll be in a nice spreadsheet for you. So up to this point, we have an email address, and now we have a name, an address, a phone number, some more information that we need to create this fake person with. Okay, so those are steps 1 and 2. Be sure if you're doing this outside of the U.S. that the geography matches correctly. If you're in the U.S., it's fairly accurate. If you choose, say, Dallas, Texas, then it's typically going to give you a Dallas, Texas zip code and address, and the phone number, even the fake one, actually matches. It works 90-something% of the time. But once you get outside of the United States, there may be some issues. So if you are not operating inside the U.S., make sure that you do a visual, using Google Maps or similar to make sure that the address matches up. Okay? So that's what we want that to do. All right. So now that we have that information, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go register a domain. And the important thing is we're going to register the domain with the email account that we've created. Okay, we want that email account to match. Hey guys, all right, so the next step in the process is going to be registering your domain. I'm not going to go through that step by step. I think that process is fairly simple, and you guys probably already know how to register a domain. But as far as the course is concerned, there are 2 basic options. You can either choose to register the domain with the fake information that you created from Fake Name Generator, That's one option. There will be several things that you'll need to verify, which is no big deal. You can verify those things. You'll verify the email, for instance. The other option is to have sort of a master account, and that's how I do most of my accounts. So I will have a GoDaddy account, and it may have 30, 40, 50 domains in it. Google does not have access to who owns that account with GoDaddy. Only GoDaddy has access to that information. What Google does have access to as a registrar is the registration information. So what I will do, I will log into my account at GoDaddy, one of my accounts, and then I will purchase the domain using that account, and then I will simply edit the contact information. So my sample site that I'm going to be showing you throughout this training, this is lindemanrcc.com. It's one of the sites that I own, and I'm using it just for this training. It serves no other purpose. So what I've done in GoDaddy, once you're logged into the back end, you'll click on domains, and then you'll click on the domain itself to get to this control panel. Okay, so this is your domain details. Once you're in here, you'll actually start on this screen, which is settings. All you'll need to do is click on the contacts, and then in this area, you're going to put the information that you created from Fake Name Generator. Okay, once that's done and you save on this to come out, it is going to send you an email wanting you to verify the email address here. Okay, so when it does that, that's fine. Go ahead and verify that. If it also thinks that something looks funny on the account, then it will also want another step of verification. In that case, it's verifying you as the account owner. You simply need to respond to that verification request, telling them that you are a GoDaddy customer, here is some of your information, and that you have registered this on behalf of a client. And that's exactly what this is for. Exactly why this exists. This is the contact information. So basically what you're telling Google is, what you're telling GoDaddy is that, this is the person, who's in charge of this account. Basically, you're just managing it for them, if that makes sense. Okay? So that's the next step in the process. The step is very similar for all of the registrars. The control panel may look different. You may have to email support if you're using one of the smaller ones to help update some of this information. But this is how it's going to look for most of them. All right, so that's step 2. Registration, you're going to want to make sure that you go through all of the different steps to verify. So when you change or add or remove this information, make sure that you already have that email account open, and so you can quickly go ahead and verify the information. All right, another option that you could use is you could use domain privacy. And domain privacy is simply where the information that normally would be displayed here is going to be hidden, and that's going to be hidden, including Google cannot see this information. If you choose to go this route, I would use a service like Namecheap to register their domain because they offer free domain privacy. If you use a service like GoDaddy, they're going to charge you for that annually. It's somewhere between $5 and $10 for that. Also, you want to make sure if you're using domain privacy that it only represents a small percentage of the sites you're using in your network. Okay, having a few of them with domain privacy is perfectly fine, looks perfectly natural. What you don't want is you don't want to have all of your sites with domain privacy. That's not going to look natural, and that's definitely going to set off a flag. Okay, so up to this point, we should have our email account, we should have our persona, and we should now own a domain, and it should be all verified and registered. So now the next step is to get us a hosting account. So back to our instruction sheet here. We're going to do the hosting very similar to the way that we did the domain registration. You're going to go to a hosting company. Again, you can choose one of the larger ones like GoDaddy or HostGator. Host9, something like that. Those are all good choices. You can choose one of those. You're going to use the information the same way like you would for the registrar. You're going to use the information that you created to set up this account. Once you do this, again, you're probably going to have to verify using the email. And again, that's perfectly fine. A second option, just like I mentioned for this, training is that you can have, a master account, let's say, in, 4 or 5 of the larger ones, hosting wise. And so you could then do the same process like I showed you here. It's going to look a little bit different though. So one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to need to go, once you have your hosting account, you're going to need to log into the back end, and you're going to access the cPanel. And cPanel is always yourdomain.com/cPanel. That's where you would log in, or you can log in directly through the back end of your host. Once you're inside, it's going to look something like this. There's different versions, but it'll look something like this. And usually somewhere toward the top is going to be this button here that says Update Contact Info. So you're going to update contact info, and if you used the fake information to register the account, then this information is already in here. All right. If you didn't, or if it's a hosting account you had prior, then all you need to do is go ahead and put in the fake information. Okay. And so when you pay for this account, you want to use PayPal, just like we did in GoDaddy, because the PayPal account is not public information, so it's not tied to your purchases. So when I make my domain and my hosting purchases using GoDaddy, that information is not correlated together. So it's perfectly safe to do that. Other options, if you are paranoid, would be to use disposable credit cards. Okay, that's another good option. All right, so now up to this point, you should have the email, you should have the fake persona, you should have a domain, you should have hosting. All right, so the next step that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to set up the actual website. So the next and final pre-step process is going to be that you will need to take the name server information from your hosting account and add it to your registrar account, so your domain will know where it's hosted. I will show in GoDaddy, if you're using GoDaddy for the registrar, then right in here you'll see name servers, okay? And you're going to just put these in here. If you did not use GoDaddy, your registrar should have a very similar purpose. It will say the domain, and it will say, set up name servers, name server information. And all you'll need to do is take the information that your hosting account provided and put it in here, okay? You're going to need to do that and have that point. Sometimes it's instantaneous, and sometimes it's going to take a while. But once the registrar is pointing your new domain to your new hosting account, then it will be live on the internet, and then we can go to the next step. So that is going to be it for our pre-site setup. Again, be sure if you have any questions about this setup to ask in the Facebook group. Thank you for listening, and please continue on to the next part, which is going to be on-page setup.